The Galactic Council had spent 3 centuries perfecting the Nexus, a dimensional prison designed to contain the most dangerous entities in known space. It floated in the void between realities, accessible only through quantum gates that required unanimous approval from all 12 member species to activate. The prison held nightmares given flesh, the devourers of Proxima, the void wraiths of the Andromeda Gate, and dozens of other horrors that had once terrorized entire star systems. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood before the council chamber, her small, human frame dwarfed by the towering representatives of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. The crystalline Zephyrians chimed disapprovingly, while the tentacled Morthak writhed in what she had learned to recognize as anxiety. "The human requests access to the Nexus," announced Counselor Vexhai, his insectoid voice translated through universal implants. "This is unprecedented and insane," added the ethereal delegate, its gaseous form flickering with agitation. "No sentient being has ever voluntarily entered the Nexus. The psychological trauma alone would shatter most. Minds within hours." Elena adjusted her worn research jacket, feeling the weight of every stare in the chamber. "Honored counselors, I understand your concerns, but I believe there's something we've all missed about these entities. My species, we have a unique perspective on monsters." The Zephyrian representative's harmonic tone shifted to what Elena recognized as skepticism. "Humans have been part of the galactic community for barely 50 years. What could your kind possibly understand that we do not?" Elena smiled, though she knew most of the council would interpret the baring of teeth as a threat display. "That's exactly my point. You see, every species here achieves spaceflight through logic, cooperation, and careful advancement. You built utopias before reaching the stars. But humans, we crawled out of a death world." She gestured to the holographic display showing Earth, a blue-green sphere that looked deceptively peaceful from space. "Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. We survived ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, and countless extinction events. We shared our world with creatures that saw us as prey. We didn't just fight monsters, counselors, we lived alongside them, studied them, and sometimes even tamed them." The Morthak delegate's tentacles curled in confusion. "How does this primitive history qualify you to enter the Nexus?" "Because," Elena said, pulling up her research files, "I've been analyzing the behavioral patterns of every entity you've imprisoned. The Devourers, the Wraiths, even the Crimson Tide, they're not random forces of destruction. They're acting out of fear, territorial instinct, or survival drive. They're not monsters, counselors. They're traumatized predators trapped in an environment they don't understand." Silence fell over the chamber. Elena could feel the weight of their collective disbelief. "You're proposing to communicate with them?" Counselor Vexhai's mandibles clicked rapidly. "The psychological evaluations show they're beyond reason." "Your psychological evaluations are based on your own neural patterns," Elena countered. "You're all prey species, evolutionarily speaking. When you see a predator, every instinct tells you to run or hide. But humans? We learn to look monsters in the eye and ask, 'What do you need?'" The ethereal delegate pulsed with what Elena hoped was curiosity rather than anger. "And if you're wrong, if these entities are truly malevolent?" Elena's expression hardened, and for a moment, the council saw something that made their various forms of blood run cold, the look of a persistence predator that had never learned to give up. "Then I'll do what humans have always done with monsters, that won't listen to reason. I'll remind them why Earth is the only planet in the galaxy that evolved creatures specifically designed to hunt in packs." 3 days later, Elena stood before the Nexus gate, her environmental suit equipped with enough provisions for a week. The council had debated for hours before finally granting her request, though she suspected it was more to satisfy their scientific curiosity than any real faith in her theory. As the quantum gate hummed to life, Dr. Sarah Chen's voice crackled through her comm system. "Elena, are you sure about this? The readings we're getting from inside." "I know, Sarah. Chaos, terror, absolute nightmare fuel." Elena checked her equipment one last time. "But you know what humans called the first proto-dogs that approached our caves? Monsters. And look how that worked out. The gate stabilized, revealing a swirling vortex of impossible colors. Elena took a deep breath and stepped forward. Besides, she said, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was attempting, every monster is just someone's frightened child. And humans? We've always been good with frightened children, even the ones with too many teeth. As she crossed the threshold into the Nexus, Elena carried with her humanity's greatest weapons, not violence or technology, but empathy forged in the crucible of a world that had taught them the difference between a monster and a creature that simply didn't know how to ask for help. Behind her, the gate sealed shut, leaving the council to wait and wonder if they had just witnessed the greatest act of courage in galactic history, or the most elaborate suicide ever recorded. Only time would tell if humanity's greatest strength was compassion, or simply being too stubborn to know when something was impossible.